I was reading your piece which you shared on political impact of AI on Indian politics, and absolutely well said there. So the threats will be there. I think we are today bitten by fake news. None of us can figure out, what is authentic news, what is fake news. But there are tools today. There are tools like M-filter, etc., which actually, figure out what is fake news for you and what is not. Even from an advertising perspective, we've seen that, while we talk a lot about digital advertising, and digital is something that connects with the youth, and you need to be there on those platforms, otherwise you will miss out on 65% of the Indian population, which is young today. But I think what goes out to them in terms of whether the advertising is actually reaching those audiences or not also is something that becomes very tool driven. So having said that, from a technology perspective, you can do coding, you can do art, you can do music, you can do PPTs, you can do slides, you can do campaigns, you can do what you like with all the tools available. At Patanjali also we use a lot of caution in what goes out. So we have a social media department internally which actually checks and verifies everything, which makes it very important to say you can get reams of data out in seconds from a chat GPT, but I think you will need to read it to say that what you are disseminating at a later stage is not something which is fake. So I think caution is really the word, but that does not mean that we should just strike off the chat GPTs or the AIs of the world, because look at the ease of work that these tools are bringing to our lives. So we are using a decent combination internally to see that we should not go wrong in what we are communicating.
I think being alert is the most important thing, as you said, human intelligence, and being alert also so that you don't commit, watch your step before you step out. Finally, Swetaji, we have been seeing a lot of negative and bad impacts of the fake news, deep faking, etc., happening in society. It has been causing riots, it has been causing a lot of social unrest, etc., and huge kind of distrust it is creating. I think the day is not far off when somebody can take this kind of stuff into stock market, financial network, and they play havoc with the marketing. I'm asking this question to you because money control does have this kind of checks and balances, but there could be a danger of media falling into this kind of a trap. Your take?
Right, very rightly put. But so every coin has two sides, right? The good thing you mentioned about the dangerous side of AI, but AI also helps track, say, a picture or a fact that has been, say, forwarded on en masse in WhatsApp, to trace back how many years old is it, right? The same AI is used by us to kind of track the authenticity, to fact check basically. So it's that now we'll see this more and more as we move into the general elections next year. IPAC, all these political campaigning companies have hired huge IT professionals basing on data analytics and AI. So we're going to see this a lot. But the fact is, we have more and more, now every agency, every media agency has a fact-checking team. In fact, for images, even now, the biggest thing that India has started using, that is AI generated in news media or social media, has started with images. Right? Recently in this G20 prep mode that Delhi was in, you all must have seen on Instagram, there was a news where the different social media posts about how dogs have been treated in various Delhi, they've been taken very... a post came up on my phone, and the pictures that came up on of all the dogs, as if it was a war-torn zone, blood was sprinkling all around, and then I was like, if this was the situation, it's very horrible. I was misled for a few seconds. I clicked on it, and then on the footnote they had written that this is an AI-generated picture. But the news was of G20 and how dogs were treated, right? So this kind of intricacy many would miss. But it is very important, and it is the responsibility of media houses like us to kind of at the beginning cite that whether this is original this is a representational picture, or this is even in the north, global north. Now they have started generating new stories based on AI. Thankfully, they have taken, there was one case where entire story was AI generated, but there was no credibility written, and one reporter took a byline on that. So it was a huge ruckus there, and then finally all media houses have now brought out a charter, most of the media houses, that if something is AI generated, at the top, instead of a byline, it has to say that this is a fully AI generated report, right? So that kind of, so as we, we have to cope up with technology. It is something which has made things very easier also. As I said, interviews we used to transcribe for, if it was an interview for 1 hour, we would like, oh God, it's taking like 2 hours, right? Then another point is data journalism. AI has helped data journalism to a big deal. It helps in data crunching. All the Panama, all the huge documents, they were all crunched by AI. And you just have to sift through the final, drafts and see whether the figures are correct. So in many ways, it has to stay. It's just that it can't take over. It has to be a balance of human intelligence, human filter, and using AI for tools that make it efficient and cost effective for media houses, which is very important. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a very well said. You said double-edged weapon. It's more, you should use it as more as a facilitator rather than a destroyer, like the nuclear analogy, because the power that we have commanded. But of course, we're going to